Test audio. Okay, just test. Okay, so we are continuing with chapter 6 of the Eric Mattis book, Python Crash Course. I was doing some exercises that I got from a guy off YouTube. They're definitely a jump up from the book. Um, though I'm vaguely familiar with all of this from the web dev days, that boot camp I did 3 years ago. I never really internalized those concepts, So now leveraging AI to help me learn, not give me answers, but kind of guide me through it. I I'm redoing this time in Python because I'm not that interested in web development, and I want to get into automation and other cool stuff that in Python is the gateway for that. And also, I actually want to learn how to do stuff properly because those boot camps, man, that's a whole different rant. But all right, we're continuing today with chapter 6. Test audio. Okay, just test. All right, this is session 3. And this is where we stopped yesterday. All right, so let's continue with nesting. That one was already saved. All right. Sometimes you want to store multiple dictionaries in a list or a list of items as a value in a dictionary. So dictionaries in a list or a list of items as a value. That's called nesting, right? That means dictionaries in a list. So it's like you got a list, and inside it You got dictionaries. Let's just get warmed up here. Okay, so this is a list. It has two items, and each item is a dictionary. So you can put dictionaries as elements of a list, or a list of items as a value in a dictionary. So you can have a dictionary, and then you have a list of items. So, for example, uh, I don't know TV brands. I'm just going to make some stuff up, right? So, okay, so we are continuing with chapter 6. Okay, so this is a dictionary, right? Um, and the first key value pair is holding a list, right? And then you know, we got cameras, Sony. It's, I don't know. So it's called nesting. You can nest dictionaries inside a list of items inside a dictionary, or even a dictionary inside another dictionary. Nesting is a powerful feature, as the following examples will demonstrate. So the Alien Zero Dictionary contains a variety of information about one alien, but it has no room to store information about a second alien, much less a screen full of them. How can you manage a fleet of aliens? One way is to make a list of aliens, in which each alien is a dictionary of information about itself. For example, the following code will build 3 aliens. If I just grab this, right? And then what he's doing here with this line, he's creating a list where each list is a dictionary. I mean, each element in the list, right? So over here, the first element of the list is the dictionary containing information about that respective alien. So it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, I got individual lists for each alien, but maybe now I want to refer to each alien in a more efficient manner. So if I create a variable aliens and I make a list out of it, then I can simply refer to the aliens like that, right? So let's say I wanted the first element in this list, and now we get this here, right? Now, if you wanted to drill down further, let's say I wanted the color of the alien, right? Well, if this thing over here is a list, how do you get an element from the list? You got the list's name, and then you put in the key, hopefully, right? You get the value, right? Because this alien 0, which refers to this first element, stands for the list. Similarly, I could do other stuff, like get the keys, or the values, or items. All right, let's go back to the book. And then over here, he just prints each individual alien. All right, so we're just going to see 3 dictionaries getting printed. Great. All right, so we first create 3 dictionaries, each representing a different alien. We store each of these dictionaries in a list called aliens, and finally we put the list. Yeah, got it. A more realistic example would involve more than 3 aliens with code that automatically generates each alien. So in this example, we use range and we create a fleet of 30. So first, we create an empty list. Then we make 30 of them. How? For alien number in range 30, the new alien will be color green, 0.5, speed slow. And then we append the new alien, show the first 5. All right. So this wasn't as cool an example as I thought it was going to be. It's not like you were randomizing the kinds of aliens. They're all green, worth 5 points, and they're all slow. But okay, it is a fleet, right? So they're all going to be like identical. All right, cool. I want to do this real quick by myself. So I'm going to make an empty. I'm going to move this here so I can just look at it. So let's make um, an empty dictionary. And then in that range, we're going to say for alien in aliens, no. For each individual alien number in range 30, right? We're going to say there's a new alien. Color green, 0.5. And then I'm going to take that alien and I'm going to add him to this dictionary. So it's going to have 30 of those. And then I wanted to show the first 5 aliens, right? So for alien and aliens, and if I want the first 5, this is a list, so I can do this, and I'm going to get aliens in the index in indices 0 through 4, and then just print them, right? So there, we got 5 of them. What else did he do? It showed how many aliens have been created. Well, this is a list. I can use length on it, right? Total number of aliens is, use the length function, right? We just say, okay then. Okay. These aliens all have the same characteristics, but each is a separate object. So when it's time to change colors, we can use a for loop and an if statement to change the color of the aliens. For example, to change the first 3 aliens to yellow means we could do so for alien in aliens for the first 3, uh, so if alien color is green, and that to yellow. So this just depends on whether or not the color is green. If the color is green, then all other the other 2 attributes will also be changed. So make the color if the color is green, then we just change color, speed, and points. So the speed will be medium. Points will be 10. So now if we want to check the first 5, right? We wanted the equality operator, not the assignment operator. So the first three are indeed yellow and the other ones are green. All right, and then he explains, because we want to modify the first three aliens, we loop through a slice that includes only the first three aliens. All of them are green now, but that won't always be the case. So we write an if statement to make sure we're only modifying green aliens. If it's green, we change the color to yellow, speed to medium, so on. You could expand this loop by adding an elif block that turns yellow aliens into red. Fast moving ones, worth 15 points each. Okay. It's common to store a number of dictionaries in a list when each dictionary contains many kinds of information about one object. You might create a dictionary for each user on a website and store the individual dictionaries in a list called users. Rather than putting a dictionary inside a list, it's sometimes useful to put a list inside a dictionary. But of course, for example, consider how you might describe a pizza that someone is ordering. If you were to use only a list, all you could really store is a list of the pizza's toppings. With a dictionary, a list of toppings can be just one aspect of le pizza. In the following example, two kinds of information are stored for each pizza: a type of crust and a list of toppings. So it's like the crust is thick and the toppings, there's multiple toppings, so we put these in a list, right, as the value of this key. The list of toppings is a value. So to use the items in the list, we give the name of the dictionary and the key toppings. As we put any value in the dictionary, and instead of returning a single value, we get a list of toppings. Of course you would, right? So for example, so we got band members, right? So if you print in the doors, you get this whole thing. If you wanted to access, let's say the drummer here, then you would say the doors, that is a dictionary, and then to access the values associated with the members, key, you would do it like that. And now this thing is a list because that's what that key is holding. So if you wanted to access the last member in the list, you would do something like this. Okay. All right, so this is the Dos was a rock band with the members, blah, blah, blah. How do you do it here? So we want to print each individual member, right? So this thing here now is a list, right? Yeah, we want the actual list here. So what does number stand for? It stands for these. When you need to break up a long line in a print call, choose an appropriate point at which to break it and end the line with a quotation mark. Indent the next line. Combine all the strings it finds inside the parentheses. Oh, for real? Oh, okay then. So you're just saying if this line is getting too long, notice we did need space here, right? If this was not indented, so anyway, but okay, great. You can nest a list inside a dictionary anytime you want. More than one, you can list a list. So let's see, want more than one value to be associated with a single key in a dictionary. In the earlier example of favorite programming languages, if we were to store each person's responses in a list, people could choose more than one favorite language. When we loop through the dictionary, the value associated with each person would be a list of languages, right? And so the for loop, we use another for loop to run through the list of languages. Alrighty. Oh, it's a long album. On hour 17, and then he has this whole cycle over here. So here he says, blah, blah, blah's favorite languages are, and then we just print out their favorite languages, right? So let's just redo that. So we got here a list of people and their favorite bands, and then we're going to say so and so's. So so and so's favorite bands, and then we get the band. So we're going to say so name corresponds to the key. Don't need the title. So we have the line break here. And band corresponds to a list. So make it plural, right? We want to print. All right, so we got a tab here. Bands is a list. So what we got to do is just straight print. Need items. So Günter Blast's favorite bands are, makes sense for a guy named Günter Blast. Brunhild Hammer's favorite bands are Klaus Faust, Death, Bathory, and Halloween. Okay, this is nice. Waltraud Skulls and Zephyr. Oh, I haven't heard that forever. Mayhem. Yeah, I just saw them. Just saw them play Sabaton. Yeah, they got their moments. And Zephyr, man, I haven't heard that album in forever. Gotta go. Rüdiger Wursts. Gojira. Okay, edgy. Fintroll. Rhapsody. Man, I still call them Rhapsody. I don't care anybody. Rhapsody of Fire. Man, Fintroll just canceled the show, man. It was so disappointing. I bought the ticket to have the hotels booked, and then it's like, no. But Korpiklani might be coming, so that's something. That's something. So I'll tell you a funny story about Rhapsody of Fire. So this was like 2018, 2018, 2019, right? And this was up in Xi'an. And I had a buddy who told me, he's like, so he's like, you won't believe who I saw. I'm like, who? He's like, I was hanging out with this girl, and she was like, hey, there's like some metal show. You want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we hop on a bus. We go like way out of Xi'an, way out of the city. I don't know how far, but it's not like a 10-minute ride, maybe like 30, 45-minute ride, right? So well out of the city. And Xi'an is not a big city. It's not hard to get out of, right? Anyway, so they're out in the boondocks somewhere, and they go to like he said like some tiny ass place. Like it's a small venue, not the kind of venue you would expect to see like a main headliner in, right? And this band comes out. He didn't even realize at first that it was freaking Rhapsody. And he told me this, and I'm like, I was like, bro, you must have hallucinated this. Like it's not possible, right? If Rhapsody were going to play China in 2018 or whatever, right? And they were up in Xi'an. Um, I don't know what the main venues there were because I wasn't going to a lot of shows there because what was there to see there? But I'm like, I don't think they would have gone to like some no-name place. In fact, I don't even think they would have played Xi'an at all. They would have been like in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Chengdu are usually like it's the standard itinerary, right? But it's like, no, man. And like, I actually looked it up once. I had to do research with like ChatGPT and be like, I had to be like, research and tell me if Rhapsody ever actually played in China in some no-name venue in like 2018. And I remember like it had actually found it. It had identified the show and the exact date. That was that was crazy, man. All right. So what else we got here? All right, let's finish page 109 for now. All right. The value associated with each name. So he shows you the code and then he explains it, right? Is now a list. Now, note that some people have one and those have multiple. And then when we look through them, we use the variable name languages to hold each value because we know, okay, so we get this. To refine this program even further, we could include an if statement at the beginning of the dictionary's for loop to see whether each person has more than one favorite language by examining the value of blend languages. And if they do have more than one favorite, the output will stay the same. If the person has if more than one, if the person has only one, we change the wording to, for example, you can say Sarah's favorite language. Okay, let's do that. So this, right, is holding a list. At the beginning of the for loop to see whether each person has more than one favorite language. So we say their favorite is. And let's say this guy only had one favorite band. So if the length of the list equals 1, right? Else we'll say, it's very advanced, R. Weltruitschool's favorite band is Are we into the cycle here? Oh, we're already on the. These are short. All right. I don't know what to listen to after this. We got a note here. You should not nest lists and dictionaries too deeply. If you nest in items much deeper than what you see in the preceding examples, or if you're working with someone else's code with significant levels of nesting, there's more likely a simple way to solve the problem. All right. Okay, so pretty slow going. It is like 8 a.m. now, started like shortly before 7. And yeah, we're going to do more sessions later. So for now, yeah, we went over the list, dictionaries, the nesting, how to access stuff. Of course, the thing is, you can sit here and go through this stuff and be like, yeah, I get it, makes sense, right? And then you see one of these like, dictionary exercises, and it's like a one sentence instruction that just leaves you stumped. You're sitting like, I have no idea how to do that, right? Even though you know that it uses only things that you just learned. But that's the whole point of coding, right? Pattern recognition, learning how to decompose or how to break down problems into individual parts, and you know, and then learning not not like being able to jump to like instantly jump to here's exactly how you solve this. I know how to do it. That's not what a good programmer is. It's more about whether you know how to do it or not, which a lot of the times you won't, of course. It's about saying, okay, I see how to break this problem down into individual components, think it out, isolate what I need, and then slowly start building from there. And that's the entire skill. And I'm saying this really for myself more than anything, right? Because we have this idea that if I can't figure it out right away, like if I don't just see the solution, then I'm just not smart enough. I'm not cut out for this, I'm not like those guys on YouTube that, can whip together a fancy calculator in 10 minutes. Well, those guys have been doing this, probably like, 10 years. And, maybe since they were like, for a lot of them, since they were like 12, right? So it's misleading, to go down that path and have that kind of idea. So the skill is not I instantly see what I need to do. The skill is, even though I don't see what I need to do, I know how to break it down, identify the individual parts, figure out how to build those, and then connect them all together. That's what it's all about. Basic problem solving, the way you would with anything else in life. All right, that's it for now. I shall continue next time.